Goalkeepers, nervous strikers, they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80,000 voices.
Hello, the Nigerian football fans and football fans everywhere. Now, we all love Ademola Lookman. I love Ademola Lookman, you know, especially if you've been following this channel, if you've been subscribed to the channel, and if you've been watching videos because you've clicked the notification bell on the channel and you've come up and you see me talk, you know I love Ademola Lookman, and you know I rate him so much. I think he's absolutely world class, and I think he has outgrown his time at Atalanta and should make, that step up. I think any club he goes to, he will definitely shine, whether it's Real Madrid, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Chelsea, any of the top clubs, he would absolutely shine for sure, 1000%. And his story actually is very inspiring, and I've done a video about that. You can check that out right after you watch this one. Absolutely inspiring how he moved from Leicester City, how he moved from Charlton, Leicester, Leipzig, Fulham, and then eventually arrived at Atalanta, and has been absolutely world class. After the past years when people thought that he wouldn't be that good, he wouldn't amount to much. But why am I talking about Ademola Lookman today? For me, Ademola Lookman playing for Nigeria is a happy accident. It wasn't something planned. It wasn't something strategized. It wasn't something that was as a result of perfect execution. It was something that was as a result of an accident, a mistake, something that no one really went out there to execute. I know former NFF chairman Amanju Pinnick, tries to claim take the praise for it. Tries to says, yeah, he's the one that did it. Maybe he did something after other things forced it to happen that way. Because like I said, if Ademola Lookman's career didn't seem like it was going to end, I don't think he was going to play for Nigeria. Not because of his own personal choice, but because of the way sometimes Nigerians react, to dual nationals. Sometimes the lax nature of the NFF, with respect to doing their utmost to convince these players to play for Nigerian Super Eagles, to don the glorious green, white, and green, to don the glorious jersey of the Nigerian Super Eagles, to to play in the AFCON and play in the World Cup for one of the most populous black nation, on the planet. Sometimes they just are too lazy on it. So it's a happy accident, and we're happy with the outcome, but that is not a strategy. And that is why when I see reports of the National Sports Commission trying to get someone like Inter Nwaneri to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles, and that is why when I say efforts should be made to get, Nuwadeji Steinberg to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles, and when I see comments of people saying, "Oh, why should you beg him? We don't want to beg these players. We need people who are, who are born on the heels of Amadiaha. Those are the ones that we need to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles. We need those that you slit their wrist and they bleed red, they bleed green, white, and green. We need those that come crawling on their knees to play for Nigeria. We don't have to talk to them. We don't have to, strategize to get these players to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles." When I see all those things, it frustrates me, upsets me, and it makes me feel like a lot of people are ignorant and don't want to learn. And oftentimes they cite Ademola Lookman. Say, "See, Lookman, he chose to play for Nigeria. That's how it should be. Everyone else should just choose to play for Nigeria that way. If you don't want to choose to play for Nigeria that way, then you shouldn't even think about playing for the Nigerian Super Eagles." But an accident cannot be your strategy. Now, let's say, for instance, you get a new job, speaking as a man, from a man's perspective now, let's say you get a job, a new job in a company, and maybe you're on 500,000 naira previously. Now, the new job, you're getting 1.5 million naira a month, and you want to go celebrate with your friends. You go out, you have some drinks, you talk with your friends, and you guys are, sort of tipsy. I'm not advising you to do that, but that could happen. You're tipsy, you see a beautiful lady, she's also tipsy, you guys, see yourselves, you like yourselves, you talk, oh, nice, and then one thing leads to another, you end up at your house. And then, after a while, of bed gymnastics as a result of your being drunk, both of you being drunk, you go your separate ways. And then 3 months later, she tells you, "Look, mister, I'm pregnant. I'm keeping this baby. I want to have this baby." And then at first you feel like, "Oh, do I really want to have a baby?" And then after a while, your parents, your friends advise you, that's the honorable thing to do. That's the manly thing to do. You step up to the plate, you take responsibility for your actions. And then you do that. You meet the girl, you tell her, "Oh, this is what happened. I'm willing to take responsibility for this. And in fact, we should get married." And then you guys get married, and in 6 months' time, so 3 months plus six, that's 9 months, she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. And then you see this baby girl, you're covered with joy, the joy of fatherhood overwhelms you. You look at, "Oh, nice, beautiful baby girl," you're happy. You're happy. Now, you didn't plan to get to that point, but now you're happy. So it's a happy accident. You didn't plan to get to that point. That wasn't your plan whatsoever. You didn't plan to go out and get so drunk that you sleep with someone you didn't know. And you didn't plan to do that without protection either, which isn't advisable. But you did. And then the result is you met this woman, you got married to her, and now you're happy. You have a child. Your wife is doing well. You as a man, you're doing well. Your child is growing. You're happy. Happy days. But now, let's say your daughter grows up 25 years from when this incident happens, and she asks you, "Oh, daddy, I would like, I'm thinking of, I've not been able to meet a date, and to get married." And then it's time for you to advise your daughter. What advice would you give your daughter? Would you say, "Oh, let's say Nkechi is your daughter's name. Say, Nkechi, you know what? Sit down, let's have a talk. To meet a nice guy, the way you meet a nice guy is you go out to the club or go out to a pub, get yourself drunk, and make sure you meet a guy that also is drunk, and then you go with him, and then you get pregnant, have unprotected intercourse with him, and then you will have a baby, and then you guys will marry. That is the way to do it." No, you wouldn't advise your daughter that way, would you? What you would say is, just make sure you comport yourself, carry yourself with a certain level of grace. The right man would meet you, and you'd make sure, whatever he tells you, you come to me, your father, just have a discussion with me, and I'll give you good guidance. You listen to your mother, sort of advice you would, those healthy advice you'd give to your child. But what it seems many Nigerians want when it comes to getting players to play for Nigerian Super Eagles, we are waiting for an accident. We're waiting for another Ademola Lookman, in terms of maybe a new Adeji Sternberg. He plays at Ghent, and then it seems like his career isn't going to go anywhere. He ends up second in the championship, maybe for West Brom, and then he drops to League Two, and then he chooses to go to maybe the Dutch league for Ajax, and then the eyes of Germany no longer on him, the eyes of Belgium no longer on him, and he's now 26. Then he's no other options. Then he chooses to play for Nigeria. So yeah, this one chose to play for Nigeria. An accident is not a strategy. An accident is not the way to get players to play for you. Look at what Morocco are doing. I keep talking about Morocco because they're an African country. Because each time we think, "Oh, it's only European countries, the players will only opt to play for in a European country," or African players are so arrogant and all that nonsense. But this is an African country. There's another player right now that Morocco are almost sure to get to play for them. So Ademola Lookman, world-class player. World-class, absolutely world-class. And like I said, I think he should absolutely leave Atalanta. Atalanta fans, due respect to you, he's brought you glories. I think he should leave Atalanta and go to another club, especially with the way Gasperini has decided to treat him. I think he should go to another club. Another club. It's absolutely world-class. There's no club he will go to that will be, above his standard. But the way he's evolved to play for Nigeria cannot be the norm, cannot be the way we want to approach things. You must be intentional. That's why I'm happy this news about the National Sports Commission and Ethan Nwaneri is true. I'll be so happy. Be intentional. Go out and say, okay, this player, I want you to play for us. This is our project. We want to be the first African country to win the World Cup. And with you, we think we can do this. As opposed to, oh, let's wait. Maybe when he's 28, 29, he will play for us. Now, I heard Jacob Murphy rejected the opportunity to play for Nigeria. For me, I have no qualms with that. Because I don't really rate him as a player, that's for one. And then secondly, you've waited till he's 29, 30. That's when you want him to play for you, when you want him to commit to you. You can't keep waiting for those accidents. And what happens with those, when you wait for those sort of accidents, somehow the player waited for England and then he plays for you. What happens is you get the bottom of the barrel. You get the not so good players most of the time. Because the top level players would always be desired by other clubs. For sure. The top level players will always be desired by other countries. Those with top level talent, other countries will always want to get them. It's the simple truth. It's time people wisen up. This is not just, an African country wanted to get African players. And one statement that annoys me is, you didn't produce these players, why do you want to reap from where you didn't sow? Anyone that says that is either someone benefiting from African countries not being able to get these players to play for them, or someone who is so ignorant and basks in their ignorance. Let's say this. If someone who grew up in the UK, grew up in US, grew up in Canada, grew up in Australia, Chibundu, Azubike, for instance, and he commits a crime, what do you think is going to happen? In most instances, they're not going to say, this guy that grew up in Peckham, or this guy that was born and bred in Melbourne, this guy that was born and bred in Ontario. No. A lot of people point to the fact that, this is an immigrant, he's come from XYZ country. So, insofar as people can always link where a person comes from when something is wrong with the person, when the person has done something wrong that they should be punished for, in as much as you can still point to, his father is Nigerian, then Nigeria should also have the right, as much as anyone else, to get that player who is shining, who is playing so well, who is eligible to play for Nigeria and England, for instance. Nigeria should be able to say, okay, we have an equal right, same as England, to speak to this player. Those are my thoughts on it. So for me, Ademola Lookman, world-class player, love to have you at Chelsea. I don't think that's even going to happen. But the way he played the way he got to play for Nigeria isn't the strategy. And it's a happy accident that we're all happy about, that we're all happy he ended up playing for Nigeria, but that is not the strategy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and I'll see you on yet another video. Stay well and stay blessed. Bye-bye.